أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، بارئ الخلائق أجمعين، باعث الأنبياء والمرسلين، ثم الصلاة والسلام على خير خلقه العبد المؤيد والرسول المسدد، حبيب إله العالمين أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين وصحابته المنتجبين. قال الله تعالى في كتابه الكريم: بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم، إنما وليكم الله ورسوله والذين آمنوا الذين يقيمون الصلاة ويؤتون الزكاة وهم راكعون. صدق الله العلي العظيم. صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. At the end of the life of wise men, usually they will summarize the things that they have learned in their life. They will summarize their life lessons, especially when that wise man knows when he's dying, when he knows that his end is near. He will sum up his life and say his final words to his family members, to his sons, to his immediate family and friends, and give them the conclusion of what he learned throughout his life. In these nights we commemorate the martyrdom of Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi afdal as-salatu was-salam. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. And we celebrate his life. We celebrate what he offered, what he taught. On a night like this, the eve of the 20th, Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam gave his final will to his sons, al-Imam al-Hassan wal-Imam al-Hossein, and to all of his followers. This will that is full of wisdom, that is the summary of what Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam lived for, what he taught, what he fought for, and what he died for. This will, these final words, are not just for Imam al-Hassan and Imam al-Hussein. These words are for all the children of Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam, and we too are the children of Amir al-Mu'mineen. Amir al-Mu'mineen, all of his words were beautiful. All of his words were touching and effective. Why? Because they came out from his heart. A heart and mind full of wisdom, full of knowledge, full of purity. All of his words were words of wisdom. Kalamul Amir, Amirul Kalam. The words of the prince, meaning Imam Ali, is the prince of words. Tonight, Amir al-Mu'mineen gathers his children around him, Al-Hassan and Al-Hussein and Zainab and Kulthum, Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas, Muhammad ibn al-Hanafiya, and others. He gathers his immediate family around him to say his final words. A man who lived, a man born in the house of Allah, died in the house of Allah, and lived a life all for the sake of Allah, now is summarizing his life in the following words. They all listened attentively to what the Imam has to say in his final moments. He begins, أوصيكما بتقوى الله. I remind you of the piety of Allah. Be pious. These are the first words that Amir al-Mu'mineen mentions. In fact, many of his sermons, many of his lectures, if you open Nahj al-Balagha and you review the sermons and the lectures of Amir al-Mu'mineen, you will see that many of them begin with this statement: أوصيكم بتقوى الله. I remind you of being pious, being God-fearing, having piety. Many of his sermons and lectures began with this statement, with these words: Taqwa Allah, Taqwa Allah. And Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam, when he reminds others of these words, he is the first to practice, the first to implement. His life was all about Taqwa Allah. It was all about piety. In one of his sermons, he says, وَإِنَّمَا هِيَ نَفْسِي أَرُوضُهَا بِالتَّقْوَى لِتَأْتِي آمِنَةً يَوْمَ الْفَزْعِ الْأَكْبَرِ. This self of mine, I mix it, and I dissolve it with piety, so that on the day of judgment it will come relaxed, comfortable, having nothing to fear. Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam was the first to implement piety. When he was in power, when the empire that he ruled, the nation, the Muslim nation that he ruled, it was from China all the way to Morocco. This vast empire, this vast nation. Imagine the money that would come to Amir al-Mu'mineen, the wealth that would reach Amir al-Mu'mineen. Imagine the power that he had. Yet did he misuse it? Did he take advantage of this power? For many people who come to power, as soon as he comes, he brings his brothers, his nephews, his sons-in-law. Doesn't this all sound familiar in some of our countries? His cousins, his immediate and his far and distant relatives, they all come to power. Let him spread the wealth, put them into power and give them positions and wealth and money and lands. This happened before Amir al-Mu'mineen with Uthman ibn Affan. When he came to power, he brought his immediate relatives, Marwan ibn al-Hakam, others and others and others. He brought them to power, he gave them lands, he gave them wealth. Amir al-Mu'mineen didn't have relatives. He didn't have any cousins. He didn't have any brothers. He had his brother Aqil. Did he give any position to his brother Aqil or any lands? On the contrary, Amir al-Mu'mineen in Nahj al-Balagha, he tells us that one day Aqil came to him. Aqil, towards the end of his life, he had lost his eyesight. He came to his brother Amir al-Mu'mineen with his children. Amir al-Mu'mineen describes the state of being of his brother Aqil and his children. He said his children and himself, Aqil, they were poor. Their head full of dust. The looks of poverty is very apparent on them. He came in one of the nights and he told me, Ya Ali, I am your brother, and the money that you give everyone else, I expect something more. I am your own blood. I'm your own brother. Don't give me the same exact salary that you give everyone else. Give me more. Amir al-Mu'mineen told him, okay, I'll give you. Extend your hand, Ya Aqil. Aqil extended his hand. Amir al-Mu'mineen says, I put a metal in the fire, I let it burn. فَأَحْمَيْتُ لَهُ حَدِيدًا. I let a piece of metal or iron burn in fire. I told him, extend your hand. Aqil extended his hand. Amir al-Mu'mineen puts that metal in his hand. Aqil started shouting and screaming and yelling, you burn your own brother? Ya Ali, I came to ask you for money. You burn my hand with fire? What kind of brother are you? He said, what kind of brother am I? What kind of brother are you? You are crying out, shouting from a simple fire made by a human being. Right now you shout a little bit and then you'll be fine. But you are willing. You want me to give you money and you're willing that you put your own brother in the hellfire? And the fire that was created but not by a human being, but by the God of gods, by the Almighty. Is this what you want from me? So who's a loyal brother? Who's a kind brother, me or you? This was the piety of Ali ibn Abi Talib, that his own brother, he wouldn't give him something extra. He wouldn't give him extra money. He would give him the same exact money that he would give others. He didn't put him in a special position. You know, one of the reasons why Az-Zubayr, the cousin of Amir al-Mu'mineen, one of the reasons why Az-Zubayr fought Imam Ali in the battle of Al-Jamal, you know why? Because he wanted a position. He wanted to be the governor of Kufa. He wanted to be the governor of Kufa. Amir al-Mu'mineen would choose as governors the ones that are most qualified. Not because it's his son or brother or cousin or family member or someone from his hometown. The one who is most qualified. And he knew that Az-Zubayr is not qualified. He's not qualified. He refused. Az-Zubayr held a grudge. And he was extremely upset. His own cousin denies him a position. A few years later, he declared a war and he fought a war against Imam Ali alayhi salam. I wish Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam would see us today. He would see our countries. When a person comes to power, he brings all of his family members, not just his family members, because all of his family members, they finish. Now that they're all into power, he brings people from his hometown. Everyone from his city, from his hometown. Now they're into power. He gives them positions. He makes them advisors. He sends them to various countries as ambassadors and consulates and so on and so forth. And some of them, they claim to be followers of Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam. They claim to be followers of Imam Ali alayhi salam. Where is the teachings of Imam Ali? We have so much to learn. We have so much to implement. أوصيكما بتقوى الله وأن لا تبغي الدنيا وإن بغتكما. And don't go after this world. Don't go after worldly desires, even if they come after you. Even if they come after you. Don't go after this world and the treasures of this world and the spoils of this world and the fake pleasures of this world. Don't go after them. وَأَنْ لَا تَبْغَيَ الدُّنْيَا وَأَنْ بَغَتْكُمَا. Even if it comes after you. And indeed, this was Amir al-Mu'mineen. Amir al-Mu'mineen never went after worldly desires. They came after Amir al-Mu'mineen. One day, one of the companions of Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam, by the name of Dhirar ibn Dhamara, he was visiting Muawiyah. Or maybe he was forced to visit Muawiyah. Muawiyah told him, Sifli Aliyan. Tell me about your master Ali ibn Abi Talib. They mentioned Ali ibn Abi Talib. Muawiyah, it was time to eat. Muawiyah, his dinner table was full of food, various kinds of food, all kinds of meat, all kinds of dessert. Dharar ibn Mdhamara remembers Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam. He began to cry. He told Muawiyah sees him crying. He told him, why are you crying? He said, when I saw all of this food, I remembered my master, Ali ibn Abi Talib. Because on his dinner table, you know what he had? He had dry bread and some salt, and sometimes, very rare times, you would have some yogurt or milk. That's it. When I saw your vast dinner table, I remembered Ali ibn Abi Talib. He told him, Ya Dharar, Sifli Aliyan. Describe to me your master, Ali ibn Abi Talib. Let's remember him. Tell me some of his qualities. Dharar said, I apologize, forgive me. This is something that I can't handle and you can't handle. He told him, no, la budda laka min dhalik. I order you to describe to me Ali ibn Abi Talib. He began describing him until he reached this part. He said, Wallahi laqad ra'aytuhu fi ba'd mawaqifih وقد أرخى الليل سدوله وقد غارت نجومه وهو واقف في محرابه. He said, I saw him in one of the nights, Ya Muawiyah. At night, when it was dark and the stars are shining, everyone is asleep, I saw Ali ibn Abi Talib standing, worshipping, praying, speaking to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. يتململ تململ السليم ويبكي بكاء الواله الحزين. I saw him shaking and shivering as if he's been bitten by a snake. Imagine if you see someone being bitten by a snake, how would he shake? How would he shiver? He said, I saw Ali ibn Abi Talib shake and shiver as if being bitten by a snake. وَيَبْكِي بُكَاءَ الْوَالِهِ الْحَزِينَ. And he would cry and cry. His tears would flow on his cheeks and on his blessed beard. يتململ تململ السليم ويبكي بكاء الواله الحزين قابضا على لحيته. He was holding his beard. وهو يقول يا دنيا غري غيري أبي تعرفتي أم إلي تشوقتي لا حان حينك قد طلقتك ثلاثا لا رجعة لي فيك فعمرك قصير وعيشك حقير. And then he stated, آهن من قلة الزاد وبعد السفر ووحشة الطريق. He said, Ya Muawiyah, I saw Ali ibn Abi Talib crying and holding his blessed beard, and he would say, oh dunya, go and fool someone else, not Ali ibn Abi Talib. You can't fool Ali ibn Abi Talib and all of your desires. You can't fool Ali ibn Abi Talib. Go and fool others. I have divorced you, ya dunya. قَدْ طَلَّقْتُكِ ثَلَاثًا. I've divorced you 3 times, and I have no intention of going back to you. Why? Because you are nothing but a mirage. You fool your human beings. You fool your inhabitants and your citizens. You're not real. And after a while, you disappear and you end. This was Ali ibn Abi Talib. And he was the one who stated, إِنَّ الدُّنْيَا تَغُرُّ وَتَضُرُّ وَتَمُرُّ. This dunya, this life, number one, it deceives. It deceives us all. We think that we will live forever. We happen to live for 50 years, 60 years, 70 years, 80 years. Who loves more? Who lives more? أَنَّ الدُّنْيَا تَغُرُّ وَتَضُرُّ. And this dunya harms us. We're preoccupied with this life. We forget about the next. We forget about the next life. Even when we see people dying in front of us, we see people being buried in front of us, losing their life in front of us. Yet we don't think that we will die. We think that we are immortal, we are the last who will die. Yet this life harms us. وَالدُّنْيَا تَمُرُّ. And this life will pass. I will die, and it will pass on to others. And others will die, and there will others that will come. This is dunya. And regarding dunya, he also stated, إِذَا مَاتَ ابْنُ آدَمَ قَالَ أَهْلُ الدُّنْيَا مَاذَا تَرَكَ وَقَالَ أَهْلُ الْآخِرَةِ وَقَالَ أَهْلُ السَّمَاءِ مَاذَا قَدَّمَ. When a human being dies, the people of this dunya, they ask, how much did he leave? How many estates, how many homes, how many lands, how much wealth did he leave behind? But the people of the akhirah, the angels, the people of the sky, paradise, they will ask, what did he put forward? Not what did he leave behind. How much did he give forward? What did he do for his akhirah? Not what he left in his dunya. These are the sayings of Amir al-Mu'mineen regarding dunya. وَأَنْ لَا تَبْغَيَ الدُّنْيَا وَإِنْ بَغَتْكُمَا. Did Amir al-Mu'mineen go behind, chase after dunya? Did he chase after khilafah and the leadership and the imamah? No. They went and chose someone else. Amir al-Mu'mineen sat peacefully at home. He did not wage a war. He did not wage a battle. He did not kill. He did not murder for the sake of this dunya. Look at others. Look at what some people are doing, are willing to do for the sake of this dunya. Some people are willing to murder and kill and cheat and steal, all for the sake of this dunya that doesn't last. Anything that we collect, we're saving it for others. We're saving it for our family members, for our relatives. This is the reality of this dunya. I heard a story of a person who died, and a gentleman who died, he left behind him children, old children, sons and daughters and a wife, and lots of wealth. The Sayyid, who was at the cemetery burying this man who had just died, this wealthy man, he said, while we were burying the dead body, I heard a fight. I heard screaming and shouting and a fight. He said, I didn't know what's happening. So I asked, what's going on? They told me, Sayyid, we'll tell you later. Finish the burial and we'll tell you later. He said, when I finished, I asked what was happening. He said, they told me that two of the sons were fighting who gets to keep the Mercedes-Benz of the person who died. They're burying him and they're fighting over his car. You know, tomorrow the same thing will happen to me, and it will happen to you, and it will happen to all of us. Our family members, they will forget us as soon as we die. As soon as we die. This is dunya. وَأَنْ لَا تَبْغَيَ الدُّنْيَا وَإِنْ بَغَتْكُمَا وَلَا تَأْسَفَا عَلَى شَيْءٍ مِنْهَا زُوِيَ عَنْكُمَا. And do not be upset over something that you lost. Something from dunya, from the spoils of dunya that you lost. Or it didn't reach you. Or it didn't come to you. Don't be sad. وَلَا تَأْسَفَا. Don't be sad, don't be depressed over the things that didn't reach you. Indeed, Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam, he shows us the best example. When the Khilafah and the Imam did not reach him, he didn't care. He didn't shout and scream and fight and went to others. It wasn't a big deal for him. Because Imam Ali alayhi salam, he was not in need of the Khilafah. The Khilafah was in need of him. The leadership was in need of him. He was not in need of it. You see some people, They fight, they scream, they shout when they lose money. Some of them are willing to commit suicide. When they lose an investment, or they hear of some stocks that went up, but they didn't invest in those stocks. For several nights they can't sleep. Why? Because these stocks went up. And he debated whether, should I make an investment, should I not make an investment? But he didn't. Now these stocks went up. He could have made $20, $30, $50, $100,000, but he didn't. For several nights he can't sleep. He can't eat. He can't drink. I heard a story of a gentleman in the Emirates, a poor gentleman. Not as in poor, an employee, a regular employee, making just enough to get by. He went into a masjid and he prayed. There was someone sitting next to him. They had a conversation. They exchanged, information. And the one sitting next to him was an older gentleman. He asked him, he told him, what do you do? He said, I'm an employee. He told him, how much do you make? He told him, for example, I make $2,000. Told him, $2,000? Yeah, that's not a lot. If you make $3,000, that's good. If you make $5,000, that's too much for you. That's too much. Told him, too much? What do you do? He said, I am so and so. He turned out to be one of the wealthiest men in the Emirates. He told him, you have all this wealth, and you tell me that $5,000 a month is too much for me? He said, yes. Take it from me, it's too much. You know why? Have you heard of the Suez Canal? He said, yes. He said, if in the Suez Canal something happens, Israel or Egypt or someone decides to, stop the canal or do something crazy in the canal, do you care? He said, no. Why the heck should I care about the Suez Canal? He said, well, I would care. Because if anything happens in the Suez Canal, I will start losing millions of dollars. I will start losing millions of dollars. They say that wealthy people, usually they don't enjoy their breakfast. Especially wealthy merchants and businessmen. They don't enjoy their breakfast. You know why? Because what's the first thing that they do? They watch the news. If the stocks went up, they will regret why they didn't invest more. So they don't enjoy their breakfast. If the stocks went down, they lost money, they're definitely not going to enjoy their breakfast. So either way, they never enjoy their breakfast. وَلَا تَأْسَفَا عَلَى شَيْءٍ مِّنْهَا زُوِيَ عَنْكُمَا. Don't care. There's some people, they lose wealth. They lose a car, the world goes upside down. I've seen some people, they lose a phone. If they lost their iPhone, the world goes upside down. That day they don't have lunch nor dinner. At home there's an emergency, you can't speak to them. It's a state of emergency. Why? Because they lost their iPhone or their Samsung. وَقُولَا بِالْحَقِّ. And speak the truth. Imam Ali tells his sons, Al-Hasan and Hossein, and all of his followers, وَقُولَا بِالْحَقِّ. Speak the truth. Imam Ali was the first to implement this. He was the one that Rasulullah stated regarding him, عَلِيٌّ مَعَ الْحَقِّ وَالْحَقُّ مَعَ عَلِيٍّ يَدُورُ مَعَهُ الْحَقِّ حَيْثُمَا دَارَ. Ali is with the truth, and truth is with Ali. The truth follows Ali wherever he goes. And he is the one that stated, لَمْ يَتْرُكْ لِيَ الْحَقُّ مِنْ صَدِيقٍ. The truth did not leave me with any friends, because I speak the truth. There's some people who speak the truth, they're left without friends. If you're like that, don't worry. If you don't have a lot of friends because you speak the truth, that's fine. Ali ibn Abi Talib, when he died, he didn't have any friends. Amir al-Mu'mineen did not have any friends. Why? Because he was not afraid to speak the truth and to tell people the truth in their face. When they see good, they say this is good. And when they see bad, they say this is bad. لم يترك لي الحق من صديق. This should be our guideline in life, my dear brothers and sisters. This should be our agenda, religious agenda, political agenda. Speak the truth. Even if you will lose friends, even if some people will stop talking to you, there's no reason to be, to flirt with people. Flirt with friends, not in flirting in the bad sense. Flirt with people just to make friends, even when you see the truth being buried. No. This is not what Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam taught us. Speak the truth even if you lose friends. Even if people will talk about you and backstab you. قُولَا بِالْحَقِّ. Yes. Even if you do things that people will not enjoy. Even if people will not like what you're doing. As long as you're with the truth. As long as you're saying the truth and you're doing the truth and you're following the truth, that's all that matters, my dear friends. That's all that matters. People might not like you, but they will respect you. People will respect you for following the truth. وَعْمَلَا لِلْأَجْرِ. And do good deeds for the sake of good deeds. And do things for the sake of being rewarded. وَعْمَلَا لِلْأَجْرِ. Seek rewards. Do good deeds for the next life. Don't just concentrate on this life. Do good for the next life, to receive some quality deeds. وَعْمَلَا لِلْأَجْرِ. And again, we see that Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam, his life was a manifestation of this. Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam planted 1,000 trees. 1,000 trees. And these trees had fruits. They were palm dates. And he would give the dates to the poor. Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam would dig wells. Wells with water, clean water, pure water, sweet water. Amir al-Mu'mineen dug it. Why? For him, one well is enough. For a business, Amir al-Mu'mineen was not a business owner. He did it for others. Amir al-Mu'mineen worked. He was a gardener. He worked. He made wealth. He made income. He bought slaves and he freed them. Historians say that he freed 1,000 slaves from his own income. وَعْمَلَا لِلْأَجْرِ. What have you and I done? Have we done any good deeds? Have we done any good deeds for the next life? Do we know that when we'll have to depart? We never know what time we'll have to depart. We don't receive a message from Israel that we have to depart. No one sends us a text message or an email that you're departing within a week, within the next few days. No, at any moment we could go. One day Ibrahim alayhi salam, or Sulaiman, one of the prophets, when the angel of death came to him, he told him, "Khalas, you have to go." He told him, "Why didn't you give me a warning? Why didn't you come and warn me at least a week before so that I would be prepared for death? I would say my goodbye to my relatives, my family members." The angel told him, "You were warned. We gave you a message." He said, "When?" He said, "Remember the first white hair in your hair on your beard? That was the first message. That was the first warning." Alhamdulillah, I have about 6 or 7 warnings now. And every day they're increasing. We've been warned. What have we done for the next life? وَعْمَلَا لِلْأَجْرِ. Everything that we do now, it's an investment for the next life. Some of us, we only think of worldly investments. What will I do for the next 10 years? What if I lose my job? What if I get laid off? What if the economy is bad? I have to think, let me make an investment. Well, how about making an investment for the next life? What have we done for the next life? Have we fed anyone? Have we taught anyone anything? What have we done? Have we helped an orphan? Have we helped a charity? Have we established a school in our community? A mosque, a center, a clinic? What is it that our community needs? Have we helped? وَعْمَلَا لِلْأَجْرِ وَكُونَا لِلظَّالِمِ خَصْمًا وَلِلْمَظْلُومِ عَوْنًا. And be an enemy of the oppressors and a helper of the oppressed. This was the slogan of Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam. This was the life policy of Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam. With oppressors, he was the enemy. He would be the first to stand in the face of oppressors. And he would be the first to help the oppressed. And he would say, القوي عندي ضعيف حتى أخذ الحق منه والضعيف عندي قوي حتى أخذ له الحق. He says, the strong with me, they're weak until I bring justice, and the weak to me, they're strong until I bring them justice. This was Amir al-Mu'mineen. Today, do we stand against the oppressors? Do we stand with the oppressed? There are so many people that are oppressed today. In Pakistan, in Afghanistan, in Iraq, in Lebanon, in Palestine, in Syria. Everywhere, there's people that are oppressed. Have we stood with them? Have we supported them? Have we fought for their cause? Amir al-Mu'mineen says, وَكُونَا لِلظَّالِمِ خَصْمًا وَلِلْمَظْلُومِ عَوْنًا. And then he says, وَأُوصِيكُمَا وَجَمِيعُ وَلْدِي وَأَهْلِي وَمَنْ بَلَغَهُ كِتَابِي بِتَقْوَى اللَّهِ. And I remind you, and all of my sons, and all of my relatives, and whoever reaches him, this letter of mine, and this will of mine, reminds them of what? Taqwa Allah. Again, the piety of Allah. Amir al-Mu'mineen lived for piety. He would always remember piety. He implemented piety and he would teach others piety. And then he would say, and then he said, وَنَظْمِ أَمْرِكُمْ. I remind you to be organized. وَنَظْمِ أَمْرِكُمْ. Subhanallah. Something that we need today. Something that we need in our communities, at our centers, at our local mosques and centers. In the West, how many of us are organized? Our centers are organized. How many of us start on time and finish on time? How many of us, our lectures are organized, our food, our centers, our classrooms, our mosques? Our activities are organized. Our social activities, our political activities are organized. How many of us? Amir al-Mu'mineen on his deathbed would tell us, وَنَظْمِ أَمْرِكُمْ. Be organized. One of the things we were talking to some of the brothers before the lecture, that here, this community needs a school. Enough of Islamic centers. There's plenty of Islamic centers. We have to look at the needs of the community. If there are enough Islamic centers to feed the needs of the community, that's enough. Let's look at the other needs of the communities. The community needs a school. That should be the #1 priority of the community. This is being organized. When the community needs, for example, 5 Islamic centers, and we go and build 10 or 15, is this being organized? This is not being organized. What is the use of having 10 Islamic centers but without an Islamic school or a clinic or a satellite channel, for example? This is being organized. How about back home? Are we organized? Are we the followers of Ahlulbayt in Iraq? Are we organized? Or in Afghanistan, or in Lebanon, or in Kuwait, or in Saudi Arabia, the followers of Ahlulbayt, are we organized? What have you organized? You know, there's an old joke in Iraq. They say that 5 Iraqi men went into a room to form a political party, to form one political party. They came out with 6 political parties. This is us. This is not just in Iraq, by the way. This is everywhere. This is also in Afghanistan, and in Lebanon, and in Syria. Is this being organized? Is this what Imam Ali alayhi salam taught us? وَنَظْمِ أَمْرِكُمْ وَصَلَاحُ ذَاتِ بَيْنِكُمْ فإني سمعت جدكما رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله يقول صلاح ذات البين أفضل من عامة الصلاة والصيام. And I remind you to fix people's problems and bring them together. If you know there's 2 people that are not speaking, 2 members in the community that are not speaking, 2 families, a husband and wife that don't speak to each other, 2 siblings, 2 brothers, 2 members in the community, they're not speaking to each other, bring them together. Bring them closer. Resolve the issues between them. Resolve the argument between them. Amir al-Mu'mineen said that I heard your grandfather, he's speaking to Imam al-Hassan and Hossein, I heard your grandfather say that Salahu Dhat al-Bayn, resolving people's problems, is better than all of salat and siyam. It's better than praying and fasting, except the mandatory praying and fasting. It's better than the recommended praying and fasting. Solving people's problems. How beautiful is that? How many people do you know in your community that don't speak to each other? Start locally. Start with your friends. Start with your friends. 2 people that you don't speak to each other. Call them tonight and have them speak to each other. Invite them over iftar, suhoor, invite them to your house. Let them speak to each other. Do you know how rewarding this is? This is more rewarding than praying and fasting, but not the wajib, the recommended. A couple, a husband and wife, they're not so well, they don't speak to each other, they're on the verge of divorce, bring them together. Speak to them, bring them together. And you know what? Lying is forbidden. Lying is haram in Islam. There's only one exception. If you're bringing 2 people together. If you're bringing 2 people together, resolving their problems and their argument, you can lie to them. You can go to the first person and tell them, you know, for example, there's a husband and wife that don't speak to each other. You go to the husband and you say, you know, I heard your wife saying how much she loves you and how she can't live without you. Of course, it's all lies. She's never said that in her life. But you can make it up. You could lie. You go to the wife and you tell her, I heard your husband say that I've never seen anyone more beautiful than my wife. And of course, you know that's a lie. Lie. Bring them together. That is fine. Al-muslih laysa bikadib. This is a hadith. This is a hadith. You can lie to bring people together. But please, I mean, don't lie too much. I mean, there's always boundaries. وَصَلَاحُ ذَاتِ بَيْنِكُمْ. And then he says, Allah, Allah fil aytam. Allah, Allah fi jiranikum. We shall talk about this tomorrow, inshallah. Orphans and neighbors. And what did Imam Ali alayhi salam say about them? Allah, Allah fil Quran. لا يسبقكم بالعمل به غيركم. Amir al-Mu'mineen, see, Amir al-Mu'mineen is giving a summary of all of his teachings, of his life experience to his sons and his children. Allah, Allah fil Quran. Take care of the holy book. Don't put it on your shelves. Don't let dust come and sit on the Quran. Don't let weeks and months and years pass by without you reading a couple of pages without not just reading, learning, understanding, and not just understanding, implementing. And implementing. You know, nowadays on our smartphones, there's a Quran app, right? There's a Quran application, and I think all of us, we have the Quran app on our phones. You know, and I think all of you have WhatsApp as well, right? On WhatsApp, there's a feature that says last seen. Last seen an hour ago, 2 hours ago, 3 hours ago. If our Quran app had a last seen, what would it say? Some of you don't want to know what it says. Don't even want to know. And we carry it with us. Our phone is everywhere. In the car, when we go out. For God's sake, even when we go to the bathroom, some of us take our phone with us. Do we use that Quran application on our phone? Do we read at least a couple of verses, at least a couple of pages every day? Do we implement the Quran? Amir al-Mu'mineen says, لا يسبقكم بالعمل به غيركم. Don't let others beat you to implementing and practicing the Quran before you. You be the first to implement the Quran. Subhanallah. What does this mean? Don't let others implement the Quran before you. The Quran says, قُلْ انظُرُوا مَا فِي السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ. Look what is in the skies. Who is researching about the skies and the universe and the planets? Us? Or the West? Or the United States? Or Western countries? Did you ever hear of an Islamic country or a Middle Eastern country that discovered a planet? No, they discover a bomb, but they'll never discover a planet. The Quran says, وَأَمْرُهُمْ شُورَى بَيْنَهُمْ. Their affairs should be of consultation. Some scholars say this is the basis of democracy. Which of our countries is democratic? The democracies are in the West. Which one of our countries, Islamic countries, Arab countries, is democratic? Who is implementing the Quran? We or them? Isn't this a shame? Isn't this a shame? Allah fi salah فَإِنَّهَا عَمُودُ دِينِكُمْ. Take care of your salah. Your salah is the pillar of your faith. Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam, he had a special relationship with his salah. Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam, one day Abu Darda says that I saw Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam, he got up, we were sitting together, he got up and he started walking in the woods. So I followed. He said he started looking behind him, making sure that no one follows, until he stopped. Abu Darda said that I thought Ali ibn Abi Talib has a special secretive meeting with some of his followers. He said, I saw Ali ibn Abi Talib stand to pray in the middle of the night, in the middle of the woods. He prayed and he would cry in his prayer, and then he fell to the ground. He performed sujood. He said, after a while I went to wake him up. I thought that he's sleeping. I thought that Ali ibn Abi Talib fell asleep. I went to wake him up. I saw that Ali ibn Abi Talib is stone cold. He's as cold as a stone. He's not moving. I kept on shaking him, moving him. Ali ibn Abi Talib would not move. He would not budge. I kept on shaking and moving. He would not move. I said, Inna lillah wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Ali ibn Abi Talib has died. So I went to his house. I went to Fatima al-Zahra. I knocked the door and I said, Ya Fatima, عظم الله لك الأجر. I offer my condolences. Your husband Ali has died. He said, Fatima said, what happened? He said, your husband has fallen in the middle of the woods. He was praying. Now I'm trying to wake him up. I can't, he's died. She said, Ya Abu Darda, Ali ibn Abi Talib is not dead, and he will not die now. This is a state of being that happens to Ali ibn Abi Talib every single night. Every single night. And then she took some water. She poured some water on his face. Amir al-Mu'mineen woke up. from that trance. That trance. In the battle of Siffin, Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam was hit by an arrow in his leg. In his leg. He was hit by an arrow. They tried to remove the arrow, but it was extremely painful. It was extremely painful. Imam al-Hasan says, I know when's the best time to remove that arrow. Let's wait for him to pray. During salah, we'll remove that arrow. Indeed, during his salah, they removed the arrow from his leg. He didn't feel a single pain. Because his mind is completely with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. His mind is with Allah. The salah of his, it's totally for Allah. Full concentration, full attention to Allah. And as for my salah and your salah, the minute that we start praying, our mind starts to wander. It starts to wander everywhere except with salah, except with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Until the moment that we finish our salah. Do we concentrate on our salah? Do we pay attention? Do we give our full attention to our salah? No. In fact, during salah we think of everything except the salah itself, except Allah. I know some people, when they lose something, when they lose their glasses or their keys or their phone, and they can't find it, they say, you know, the best thing to do is that I pray, I stand and pray. Because in salah I'll remember. Because in salah I remember everything except salah itself. Allah, Allah fi salah. Allah, Allah fi bayt rabbikum. La tukhalluh ma baqaytum. فَإِنَّهُ إِن تُرِكَ لَمْ تُنَاظَرُوا. Take care of the house of Allah, meaning Mecca, meaning Masjid al-Haram, meaning go to Hajj. Don't leave the house empty. Go to Hajj. How many of us are qualified to go to Hajj financially? We're financially capable, but we've been stalling. We've been stalling. We've been delaying our Hajj. Why? Because of business. We don't want to leave our business. Because if we leave for 3 weeks, we'll lose a lot of money. We'll lose our business. Thus we delay Hajj. There are a lot of sisters that delay Hajj. Why? Because she's still not wearing hijab. And when she goes to Hajj, she has to wear hijab. She can't delay it any longer. So she wants to delay Hajj so that she could put off hijab. This is not right, my dear friends. Allah, Allah, fi bayt rabbikum. Go to Hajj. Do not take Hajj lightly. And these are the nights to ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant you the pilgrimage. وَارْزُقْنَا حَجَّ بَيْتِكَ الْحَرَامِ فِي عَامِنَا هَذَا وَفِي كُلِّ عَامٍ. Ask Allah to grant you His Hajj this year and every year. And every year. Allah, Allah fil jihad bi amwalikum wa anfusikum wa alsanatikum fi sabilillah. Take care of jihad, perform jihad. You see, Amir al-Mu'mineen begins, he says bi amwalikum, first with your wealth. Perform jihad with your wealth. Those who have wealth, first pay. We are in need of your wealth. Islam is in need of your wealth. There are lots of Islamic projects that are in need of your wealth. You first begin with your local Islamic center. Does it need help? Support. Your majalis, do they need support? Do they need help? Support them. Do you need a school? What is it that your community needs? Support it. Then support other projects. Support your family members. Support Islam worldwide. Allah, Allah. Fil jihad bi amwalikum, number one. Wa anfusikum wa alsanatikum, and with your tongues. Jihad is of your wealth. Jihad is of your bodies, and the jihad of our tongues to speak and to say the truth. This is a form of jihad. وَعَلَيْكُمْ بِالتَّوَاصُلِ وَالتَّبَاذُلِ وَإِيَّاكُمْ وَالتَّدَابُرُ وَالْتَقَاطُعِ. Socialize with one another. Connect with one another. Do not disconnect. You, the followers of Ahlulbayt, connect with each other. Do not disconnect. Do not stop speaking to each other. Do not have disputes and arguments and stop talking to one another. No. عليكم بالتواصل والتبادل. Speak to one another. Spend money on each other. Give to each other gifts. Yes, because gifts, they make bonds stronger. They make the love stronger. Finally, at the end of his will, and he mentioned others, but this were the most important points. He says, يا بني عبد المطلب لا ألفينكم تخوضون دماء المسلمين خوضا تقولون قتل أمير المؤمنين. Oh, Bani Abdul Muttalib, my cousins, my family members, do not fight and kill people in my name, saying that Ali ibn Abi Talib was killed. Don't go and kill others out of vengeance for revenge for my blood. No. ألا لا تقتلن بي إلا قاتلي. Do not kill only my murderer. Only kill him. انظروا إذا أنا مت من ضربته هذه فضربوه ضربة بضربة. If I die because of this injury that he injured me, then hit him with one injury only. Hit him once because he hit me once. ولا تمثلوا بالرجل. Do not cut him into pieces. Do not cut his head off. Do not behead him. فإني سمعت رسول الله يقول إياكم والمثلى ولو بالكلب العقور. I heard my master Rasulullah say, do not cut a human into pieces. Do not amputate. Do not decapitate. Do not behead a human being. Even an animal, even a dog, do not decapitate it. Amir al-Mu'mineen has one more night to live with his family members. On a day like this, Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam, on the day of the 19th, when Amir al-Mu'mineen was injured, his sons Al-Hassan and Hossein rushed to him. They saw that their father is in a puddle of blood. Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam was not able to pray by standing. He had to pray Salat al-Fajr by sitting on the ground. Al-Hassan wa bin Abbas, they picked up Amir al-Mu'mineen. They held him. They brought him back to the house. Amir al-Mu'mineen saw Abd al-Rahman ibn Muljam. He told him, why did you do this to me? أبئس الإمام كنت لك. Was I a bad imam for you? Is this why you did this to me? Ibn Muljam said, no, إنك لا تدخل من كان من أهل النار. No, my dear master, it was not you. Kulthum, on a day like this, she saw Ibn Muljam. She said, why did you kill Amir al-Mu'mineen? He said, I did not kill Amir al-Mu'mineen, I killed your father. He refused to call him Amir al-Mu'mineen. He said, I bought my sword for 1,000 dirhams, and I bought poison for 1,000 dirhams, and I let the sword sit in the poison for an entire year until I injured Ali ibn Abi Talib. Look at the poison that had entered the head of Ali ibn Abi Talib. Look at the form of injury that befell Amir al-Mu'mineen. When Ibn Abbas and Imam al-Hassan, they brought Amir al-Mu'mineen to his house. They had to carry him. They had to draw his feet on the ground. Amir al-Mu'mineen could not walk. The blood kept on drenching from his head. It came on his blessed beard. It kept on flowing onto the ground. When they reached the house of Amir al-Mu'mineen, Amir al-Mu'mineen told Al-Hassan ibn Abbas, leave me, I want to walk by myself. They told him, Master, you cannot walk by yourself. We have to carry you. He said, no, I want to walk by myself into the house. Why, ya Amir al-Mu'mineen? Do you want to walk by yourself? He said, because Zainab will see me. Zainab will see me being carried. She will become nervous and frightened. I do not want Zainab to be frightened. Amir al-Mu'mineen comes into the house, blood flowing from his head, drenching his beard. His daughter Zainab saw him. Wa abtah wa aliyah. My dear father, who did this to you? Who injured you? They put Amir al-Mu'mineen on his bed. Al-Asbagh ibn Nubata says, I came to visit Amir al-Mu'mineen. His head was wrapped with a yellow turban. Amir al-Mu'mineen had lost so much blood that his face was pale. It had become yellow. Al-Asbagh ibn Nubata says, when I came to see Amir al-Mu'mineen, I wasn't sure which was more yellow, his turban or his face. The doctor came to see the injury of Amir al-Mu'mineen. When he investigated, when he saw the injury, he began to cry. He said, Ya Amir al-Mu'mineen, say your last farewell. The doctor said, bring some milk for the Master Ali ibn Abi Talib, because milk is good for those who are poisoned. They announced in the city that Amir al-Mu'mineen wants milk. When Al-Hassan went outside, he saw tens and hundreds of orphans gathered with milk for their master Ali ibn Abi Talib. These orphans who were comforted by Ali ibn Abi Talib, they were being orphaned once again by the loss of Amir al-Mu'mineen. Amir al-Mu'mineen drank some milk, and then he said, take it to Ibn Muljam. خذوه لأسيركم. He drank some, yet Amir al-Mu'mineen would think of his murder. He would think of the one who killed him. They took him some milk. On a night like this, Amir al-Mu'mineen was lying on his bed, surrounded by his children. Sayyida Zainab, as painful as it was for her, yet her father was there, her brothers were there to comfort her. Al-Hassan was there, Al-Hossein was there, Al-Abbas was there. But there was another day for Sayyida Zainab. There were no brothers, no Hassan, no Hussein, no Abu al-Fadl. It was the eve of the day of Ashura, when they burnt the tents of the family of Rasulullah. Sayyida Zainab was by by herself. No brothers, no nephews, no children. She looked to the city of Najaf and shouted, Assalamu alayka ya Aba ya Amir al-Mu'mineen. لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. إنا لله وإنا إليه راجعون. Raise your hands in dua. As long as you have your tears flowing on your cheeks, this is a time of dua. نسألك اللهم وندعوك باسمك العظيم الأعظم الأعز الأجل الأكرم يا الله بحق أمير المؤمنين بحق المظلوم المسموم الشهيد. اللهم اشفي كل مريض. اللهم داوي كل جريح. اللهم اكسو كل عريان. اللهم اشبع كل جائع. اللهم اغني كل فقير. اللهم اقضي دين كل مدين. اللهم سد فقرنا بغناك وغير سوء حالنا بحسن حالك واقض عنا الدين وأغننا من الفقر إنك على كل شيء قدير. ولأرواح المؤمنين والمؤمنات والعلماء والشهداء نقرأ سورة الفاتحة مع الصلوات.